Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com.
Oh no! The handle from your door fell out of the socket in middle of Shabbos. What do? Can you reinsert it in order to open and close your door regularly? Does doing so consist of any Shabbos prohibition? And what if unfortunately this occurred when there's somebody inside the room and now the door is locked? Such as you slammed the door shut and the force of the closing of the door forced out the other side of the handle that is used to open and close it, and now you can't get out or you can't get in. What do? So the insertion of a handle into a door on Shabbos enters into the question of the makeh bepatish tikkun kli and building prohibition. The general rule is that it is forbidden to build or fix something on Shabbos due to the building prohibition or tikkun kli prohibition, which is one of the biblical 39 malachas, each one its own individual malacha. Nonetheless, there are detailed circumstances involved in which at times indeed it would be a biblical prohibition, at times only a rabbinical prohibition, and at times even permitted to be done. So before we analyze our case regarding the door handle, let us first give an overview regarding the biblical versus rabbinical versus permitted cases of fixing and building. The biblical prohibition of building or tikkun kli is only applicable if two conditions are met. Number one is that the item is being fixed or assembled in a very strong, permanent, and professional manner, meaning that the pieces aren't loose and are going to fall apart. And B, that the intent of this assembling is for it to last forever, as long as a vessel lasts, for its lifetime. It's not meant to be assembled for a month and then disassembled. If one of these two conditions are lacking, meaning that the assembled parts are only assembled loosely, or it's assembled strongly but it's not meant to last, the intent is to undo it within a month and the like, then while this is not under a biblical prohibition of building or tikkun kli, it is under a rabbinical prohibition and may not be done. Now, in what case do we rule that assembling, building, fixing is permitted even initially? So this is in the following two cases, either or. Case number one. The assembled items are being put together very loosely, and this is the common way that it is assembled very loosely. Since it's very loose, the sages did not make a decree against it, as it's common for it to only be loosely inserted, and it will never come to be inserted strongly and have a biblical prohibition transgressed. Another case example that is permitted even initially to assemble, and that is if it's not meant to last at all, such as it is common for these two assembled parts to be put together and disassembled within 24 hours within that same day of Shabbos. These are the general rules applicable to assembling a vessel. However, when it comes to assembling things that are attached to the ground, the laws are more stringent, and we rule that even a semi-loose attachment to the ground is biblically forbidden, unlike the way we rule by assembled vessels, that if it's semi-loose, it is only rabbinical. With all that information at hand, let us now analyze our case example of returning the handles back into the socket of your door. So based on everything we learned, it is evident that it is absolutely forbidden to return the door handle into the socket. If you insert it strongly, then it is a biblical prohibition. But even if you insert it loosely, it is at the very least a rabbinical prohibition, and possibly still even a biblical prohibition, being that it's attached to the ground, as doors are attached to sockets which are attached to the ground. Based on this, it's understood that this door handle that fell off the door is now officially completely muktzah and cannot be moved for any purpose in the regular method. Nonetheless, despite the above, we have the following leniencies and lenient circumstances associated with this case. So first of all, number one, the good news is that although we prohibit the insertion of the handle back into the socket of the door, it is permitted for you to use other items for the sake of opening your door. So you can enter a knife, a screwdriver, or any other tool of your choosing into the socket of the door for the sake of opening and closing it. Even a screwdriver may be used, as though it is muktzah. It is a type of muktzah called kli shemalachta le'isr, which may be used for a permitted purpose on Shabbos. The reason why using these items does not consist of any building or fixing prohibition as opposed to a door handle is because, very simple, they aren't meant to be there, and everybody understands that. No one leaves a screwdriver or knife in their door socket. So it's similar to inserting a key into your door for the sake of locking it or unlocking it, of which is, according to everybody, a permissible act on Shabbos. Now, what about a case in which somebody has a door handle which he uses to always open and close the door by inserting it and removing it? Meaning he doesn't leave the door handle in the socket like most human beings. He always takes it out and only inserts it when he wants to open or close the door. So if this is a type of door handle which everyone it recognizes that is meant for this constant removal and insertion, then it is permitted to be done on Shabbos as well, as it's similar to a key. If, however, it's a regular door handle, then this is subject to debate of the next question that we will discuss. The next question and circumstance is as follows. What about a case, which is quite common, that this loose handle that fell out of the socket on Shabbos, this is not its first time? He is a repeated offender. He does this all the time, this handle. He does it during the week. He does it on Shabbos. It isn't inserted strongly into the socket, and therefore it constantly falls. So in such a case, am I allowed to return it back into the socket on Shabbos or not? The Eshel Avram Abuchas suggests that based on the rules that we previously learned, that something that's not meant to last at all does not contain a building or fixing prohibition. Therefore, here too, seemingly, should be allowed to insert this door handle into the socket, being that it's not going to last as it constantly falls. Nonetheless, he concludes that it's best not to do so through an adult. Only a child should do so, as since nonetheless it is a accessory of the door, it could be it contains a rabbinical prohibition against being inserted, being that it looks like you're building. Practically, it is best not to rely on this method and simply take a screwdriver or a knife on Shabbos to open up your door handle, to open up your door even in such a case that it constantly falls. However, if you don't have any tools available and this is the only way to open your door, those who are lenient in this circumstance have upon whom to rely, and as we have stated, it is best to use a child to do so. Some suggest that it is permitted to enter the door handle into the door socket in an irregular manner, such as upside down, as in such a case, you will be forced to remove it after Shabbos, and there's no worry that you're going to leave it there permanently and end up having built on Shabbos. Practically, however, this is not to be done, especially being that we already ruled that the door handle is muktzah. So to summarize, your door handle fell off your door out of the socket on Shabbos. What are you to do? In general, it is forbidden to return it into the socket on Shabbos, and the door handle therefore becomes muktzah, although you may use a screwdriver or other tool to open your door. Nonetheless, if this is a very common occurrence that the handle falls off from the socket all the time, constantly, then some poskim are lenient and allow doing so through a child. Likewise, if it's a door handle that's meant to be used for constant opening and closing, meaning insertion and removal from the socket, then likewise there is room for leniency. The best thing is, make it part of your Erev Shabbos tradition that if you know you have loose door handles, fix them, strengthen them before Shabbos so you don't enter into this question. Now, regarding a case that somebody is stuck in the room and you have no tools available to enter into the socket to open up the door, with exception to the door handle, what should you do? So in general, it's forbidden to enter the handle even in such a case, and the person will have to remain there the rest of Shabbos, as there is no danger involved for someone to remain in a closed room, that we should therefore permit transgressing a possibly biblical, and at the very least rabbinical prohibition. Nonetheless, if a baby is stuck in the room, or an old man or person who is sick, and there's possible worry of danger, then certainly one may have it opened, as the hysteria of a child can be considered sakana. So if a baby gets stuck in the room and is screaming, you can put the handle inside and open it if other tools are not available. Likewise, in the case of great need, one may be lenient to do so through a Gentile, as explained in the article. See there for further details.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.